Imagine this. You're on a family vacation, taking a pretty standard cave tour, but then you make one small, wrong turn, and suddenly you're plunged into a 4-day nightmare. You're alone, in the pitch black, facing an ancient secret that should have stayed hidden. Well, that's exactly what happened to Alexander Hale. So to really get what happened to Alexander Hale, you have to understand where it happened. We're talking about Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. And look, this isn't just some big cave. It's a massive, sprawling underground world. The biggest one on the planet, in fact. So the date is November 9th, 2025. Alexander Hale, he's a 38-year-old software engineer. He's there with his family on a totally normal historic tour. You know, just a fun weekend trip. But deep underground, that plan was about to go horribly wrong. To really appreciate how dangerous this place is, you have to wrap your head around the scale. We're talking about over 400 miles of passages that we've mapped, and that's just the part we know about. It's this insane three-dimensional maze where, in that total, complete darkness, every corner starts to look exactly the same. Honestly, it's the perfect place to vanish. And this is the moment it all fell apart. The group was near this 105-foot deep chasm they call the Bottomless Pit, a spot that's famous for its crazy, disorienting echoes. Hale apparently wanted to get a closer look at some rock formations. The tour guide, Maria Delgado, turns back to check on everyone, and he was just gone. She heard a faint shuffle, and then nothing, just silence. The response was immediate, and it was huge. I mean, we're not talking about a couple of park rangers with flashlights. They sent in elite cave rescue units with some seriously high-tech gear. Drones with LiDAR, which basically uses lasers to map the pitch-black tunnels in 3D, spotting little crevices a human would totally miss. It was an all-out technological assault against the darkness. And while this massive search was kicking into high gear, his wife Elena was just waiting, trying to hold on to any shred of hope. Her words really bring it home, you know? This wasn't just another missing person report. This was a husband, a father, lost somewhere in that unforgiving dark. So for 2 full days, 48 hours, rescuers searched grid by painstaking grid, and they found absolutely nothing. That initial hope of a quick rescue, it was starting to fade. It was being replaced by this awful sinking dread. And then, from deep within an uncharted part of the cave, the silence was shattered. First, some muffled cries, and then 2 very clear, very distinct gunshots. The sound just ripped through the limestone, and it was picked up by their parabolic microphones. It was a terrifying sound, and it completely changed the search. Alexander Hale wasn't just lost anymore. He was in a fight for his life. Now, the rescuers knew Hale had a gun. He declared a .38 revolver totally legal. But why did he use it? Did he panic in the dark? Was he hallucinating? Or was he actually shooting at something else that was down there with him? An elite team of cavers immediately moved toward the sound of the gunshots, pushing deeper and deeper into the cave. And what they found next, well, it turned this rescue mission into something straight out of a horror movie. Try to picture this scene. In the narrow beams of their headlamps, the rescuers find this bizarre glowing trail slicked across the cave floor. It wasn't blood, it was something else, something that looked totally alien. And that trail led them right to where the gunshots had come from. At the end of this glowing trail, they found a creature unlike anything known to science. It was as big as a man, with this pale, almost translucent skin, long, spindly limbs, and these useless, milky white eyes. And right there, in its torso, were 2 bullet wounds, Hale's revolver. He had hit his target. So they found all this evidence of a violent struggle, the dead creature, that weird fluid, even Hale's energy bar wrapper. But the man himself, his flashlight, his backpack, all gone. The thing was dead, but Hale was still missing. Just when things looked their absolute bleakest, technology and sheer willpower finally paid off. The discovery of that thing? It just lit a fire under the search team, and they doubled down with a whole new sense of urgency. 96 hours, 4 full days. That is how long Alexander Hale was down there, alone, hurt, dehydrated, and surrounded by a darkness so complete you can't even imagine it. After sending low-frequency pings into the cave, rescuers finally got a response, a tiny, faint whistle. They had found him. They pulled him from a deep crevice, about 300 feet below the main passage. And this was the first thing he said. He was alive, but you can tell the ordeal left a massive psychological wound. He had faced something truly monstrous in the abyss, and somehow, against all odds, he survived. So with Hale safe, the big mystery shifted to the creature he killed. Scientists started analyzing the body, and what they found wasn't a monster from a horror story, but an absolutely stunning piece of our planet's hidden history. Turns out, the creature was what's called a troglodyte, an animal that lives its entire life in total darkness. I mean, think about a world with no light, very little food. The pressure to adapt is immense. And the result, in this case, was a completely unknown species of primate. They've tentatively named it Homo speluncae, which basically means caveman. The analysis showed these incredible adaptations. Its eyes were vestigial, basically useless evolutionary leftovers. It didn't need them. Instead, its hearing had evolved to be hyper-acute, becoming its main tool for getting around and hunting. The pale skin, no pigment needed underground. And its DNA had these weird proteins that probably explain that glowing fluid, a kind of bioluminescence, maybe used to mark territory or even lure the scarce prey you'd find in a world without any light. But in the end, this is what it all comes down to, right? The science is incredible for sure, but the human story is about survival and about family. Like his wife Elena said, no matter how terrifying that creature was, her husband came home, and that was the win. The story of Alexander Hale is just this chilling reminder that our world still has these deep, profound mysteries hidden away. Mammoth Cave gave up one of its secrets, a creature that evolved for thousands, maybe millions of years in total isolation. And it really makes you wonder, what else is down there? Just waiting, in the vast, unexplored darkness right beneath our feet.